Hey, look what we have found. A big sound in a small town. Far away from the bright lights. They're making music every night. Discover what is all around. A big sound. A big sound. In a small town. Big sound, small town. A really big sound. Big sound, small town.
You're listening to Big Sound, Small Town with Sandy Carlton.
There's a song called Divorce Looks Good on You, placed in the Don Gibson Singer-Songwriter Symposium last year. It's just about that happy feeling when you see somebody come out of a relationship that was a bad fit for them. You feel like it changed them in a way. And it's when they come out and they're starting to act like themselves again, and you're happy to get your friend back and see your friend happy. So that's all it's about, just a fun story. Well, the door eased open and you crept in. I strained from across the bar. You know my eyes ain't as good as they used to be, but I knew that face from afar. Now I hadn't seen you since the 1st of June, but I heard that Charlie called it quits. Left you alone with a double-wide trailer after one of her weekly fits. Well, it was hard to hear, but it was hard to miss the changes she'd made to you. She took the best of you and then beat you down, and you never even had a clue. Now here you stand, a drink in hand, and where'd you dig that shirt up from? Well, baby, believe me, 'cause I can't remember the last time you looked so fun. Hey, mama always told me not to stare, but it's the first time you haven't looked blue. Oh, she ran you through the ringer, took the ring off your finger. Now you got a gray hair too. From the very bottom of my heart, I'm sorry that the love wasn't true. And I know it's wrong, but I just gotta say it. Divorce looks good on you. Oh, take me for a spin and smile at me again. Put your hand in mine real tight. I don't want anything else in this whole world except to see you have a good night. Well, the Braves are on, and I'll bet you alone that they give it up from the start. If they played hard and you harder to get, well, there'll be no more broken hearts. Hey, mama always told me not to stare, but it's the first time you haven't looked blue. Oh, she ran you through the ringer, took the ring off your finger. Now you got a gray hair too. From the very bottom of my heart, I'm sorry that the love wasn't true. And I know it's wrong, but I just gotta say it. Divorce looks good on you. Hey, mama always told me not to stare, but it's the first time you haven't looked blue. Oh, she ran you through the ringer, took the ring off your finger. Now you got a gray hair too. From the very bottom of my heart, I'm sorry that the love wasn't true. And I know it's wrong, but I just gotta say it. Divorce looks good on you. Hey, I know it's wrong, but I just gotta say it. Divorce looks good on you. Hey, my name is Madison Bridges. I am a native of Cleveland County. I play a little bit guitar, a little bit banjo, write a song here or there, and it's just a pleasure to finally be on the Big Sound Small Town podcast with Sandy Carlton.
Well, it's my pleasure to have you on the show. It's I've actually enjoyed watching since you moved back to Cleveland County.
Yeah,
watch your growth as a musician.
Hey, it's been fun every step of the way, and as things happen, to be able to talk to you and be able to hear a word from you of encouragement and growth, and also, you know, to talk a little bit crap.
Yeah, well, you're talking to me, so you know it's going to be full of crap. But you know that is one of my favorite things, is to see musical growth in young people. It's just a beautiful thing to me, and I've got to watch you just I mean, I guess I can tell this story.
Oh man, here we go.
So
you didn't tell me this before we started.
No, I didn't. so I knew you were a talented singer, but then you come to the house one time and you do an original song you'd written, and it was like, dang, I played with her dad, who I think is just a fabulous songwriter, and he ain't even the best one in the family. You know?
He's gassing me up a lot, y'all.
So, I mean, it was like, I was so surprised because I knew that you could sing. I knew you were a good musician. I mean, we got a backstory here that we'll go into about how we know probably that you were going to be a good musician from the genetics, of course. I mean, your dad, in case people do not know, her dad is Kevin Bridges.
Yeah. With Cleveland County Nepo baby.
Yes.
Over here.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, Kevin, as you all know, if you've listened to my podcast, is for close to the past 10 years has been one of my music compadres of the highest order. You know, we've played a lot of music, talked a lot of junk, and you know, had some good times. But so of course the background, you know, the gene pool is probably pretty deep, but it goes deeper than just that. Playing guitar and banjo is not. You spent a whole nother life playing a different instrument at a high level.
Yeah, and we've talked about, for reference to, me and Sandy have joked about doing the podcast for years.
Yes.
And I'm so happy that we've waited till now so we don't have to talk about, originally we were going to talk about marching band.
Sure, we were.
Yeah, and so I love that we've waited, now we have more to talk about. But yeah, like Sandy said, I played tenor sax all through school, like a lot of people did, and then I went to NC State and played in marching band, pep band for the whole time I was an undergrad.
Yeah.
And
so I mean, that's in addition to going to school. I mean, that's a time consuming thing.
Yeah.
And you know, it requires all the stuff of being a horn player that is totally different than being a string player.
Absolutely.
You know.
Now you have to do chords when you do strings. I could play single notes on saxophone. It was totally fine.
Yeah, you could.
Very accepted.
But then there's a whole another part of playing sax.
Yeah.
Or any horn, or even what I do is harmonica. There's a lot of embouchure. You have to really work on that.
Yeah.
And it's something you have to keep up.
Yeah.
Which could, you know, how is yours now?
Oh, not great.
Exactly.
Not great at all. I haven't played in quite some time. I still have a saxophone, but yeah, I haven't played.
I have to work on harmonica, particularly if I'm going to go off and play a lot.
Yeah.
I have to really work to get it to work right for me.
Yeah.
You know, if I take too long off and don't do it, it's like, yeah, I can do it, but it doesn't sound like I want it to.
Yeah.
It's the same way. I'm sure you can go pick your horn up now and play it.
Yeah.
But it won't sound like what you want it to sound like.
No, for horn players, I would definitely have to get like a number 2 reed or a 1.5. We'd be going down to baby level reeds if I had to pick it up and play today.
But so another cool part is, and no one's ever talked about this on the show.
Oh man, here we go.
So how hard is it to play a horn in a marching band?
So marching band's cool because you get, I don't remember if did you do band in high school, Sandy? I can't remember.
I did band, but yes, but I did not march.
Okay. It's fun because you remember they make you take the little rhythm test.
Right.
And so they instill that rhythm like so early with the things you're doing.
That's a great part of it.
And then by the time you get to high school and you're marching, you've got it enough internally that you're just turning it on. And I will say, I think the biggest thing and it messes you up if you ever shag dance, it messes you up coming from a marching band perspective. When I came through band, everything you started on your left foot.
Right.
With shag, I think with women you start on your right foot.
I think they do.
Because I always had to remember if we were doing like shag at the beat or something, I'm like, oh wait, I have to start on the opposite foot. Marching band, you're always thinking different. I hope I didn't say that wrong. It's been like 10 years since I was in band now.
Well, it's one of the things, you think about, you put the time in on your instrument to learn the songs, but then you got to get the marching part.
You have to get
right.
the marching part right, and there's so much with peripheral vision is how that works. But I will say the thing that helped me play in tenor lines a lot with tenor sax helped my harmony so much better later as I've singing, playing harmony.
Sure.
Because all I did for all those years was play harmony parts. I didn't play the melody.
Right.
And I really do think that helped
I think that would be a great, because your harmony singing is really good, and you're instant. I mean, it's not like you find it.
Yeah.
You find it, like with me, you find it in the middle of no sooner than we start. It's not like I have to doodle around, you just fall right in.
Hey, it's all them half notes and whole notes.
I guess,
had to play forever in high school and college.
That's funny. I love marching bands.
Yeah.
I used to love to go to parades just to see marching bands.
Yeah. Oh, and bands hate parades the most. Everybody hates parades.
Really, they hate parades.
Hate parades the most because it's such a long time, and you're playing usually like.
And you have to walk a long ways too. Yeah.
One of my favorite things that I never had to do in college was we never went to the Macy's parade.
Oh, really?
And I was always so grateful for that because every story I heard from the parade was, "Oh, you're up at 2 a.m. Oh, you have to get in place. Then you have to walk this long path." And I'm like, "No, I'm good. I'd rather."
But you march places like that in the band.
Yeah, we did. So for people keeping up, my first year at State was Dave Doran's first season as a head coach.
Right.
So they went like 3-9, and it was terrible. Marquez Vasquez Scanlon was there.
Yeah.
In the Super Bowl.
True.
So that was the highlight. Had like 7 home games. So we sat through a lot of bad things as the band. But we did get to go to some bowl games. We went to a bowl game in St. Petersburg, Florida. So Christmas Day, and that was a lower tier bowl game. But so as far as for the football team, it doesn't look that good. You're not at a higher level.
Right.
But for us,
we
were at the Gulf of Mexico walking out of an oceanfront hotel room, athletics paid for on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
So we had went to the Belk Bowl in Charlotte, went to the Independence Bowl in Shreveport. I was never able to do the basketball bands because the point system, I was never able to get enough points. But the NCAA tournament, if you remember the crying piccolo girl from Villanova, that was State beat Villanova at that game. And so the kids that were in the band, I remember them coming back and be like, "Y'all, that was unreal." Y'all. So that was, I did get to go to an ACC women's tourney one time in State. This is Westmore was hired when I was an undergrad, so the women's team was starting to build back up to where they're at that really high level now. And I remember I went to the women's tourney in Greensboro with the band, and like when somebody does air ball, what our student section would do is, you chant air ball at them the rest of the game every time they're holding the ball. Well, we were so close to the court that this VT girl had done an air ball, so we kept chanting. Well, she got close to us somehow on the court, and she got the ball again, and we started chanting. And in her face, she looked so upset and so sad that it broke my heart right then. And I was like, I can't chant this anymore, guys. I'm sorry. I'm seeing the personal toll it's taken on somebody.
Well, so say you go to the, and I think this might be more high schoolish, but I suspect it's college-ish a bit. So you go, and you party, and like you're not feeling good, and you're doing the marching band thing. You just like take time off and not play. It's like, I don't feel good. I'm not playing. I'm only going to play like, here and there.
I did have a friend that I remember we would have to be, okay, so the thing about band is you're there. If kickoff's at 12, you're at the band room at 6.
Yeah.
To get on the bus and go, because State's one of those universities where you're not on campus with your facilities, you're away. So we have to bus over there. And I did have a friend, I remember that he would go out Friday night, and we'd be at the practice field on Saturday and be like, "Hey, what time did you go to bed?" And he'd be like, 5:20. And so we definitely, that was definitely there. Yeah.
Now, this is kind of strange too. No one ever talks about, I guess, with marching bands and bands in general like that. So did you guys just jam for fun ever?
Some people did. I will be honest, when I got to collegiate level band, as high school I was was an overachiever.
Right.
And wanted to do more things and wanted to learn more things. And but when I got to high school, when I got to college level band, and I kind of saw what it was at that level, I was like, "Oh, I'm good. I'm gonna do this. I'll be so happy, and I'll be done, and I'm fine. I don't need to do extracurriculars. I'm gonna go free tickets to all the football games, the basketball games. I'm gonna be close to the action." And I will say the playing. I got in trouble one time, so I worked at admissions when I was an undergrad. That was my work study for 3 of the 4 years I was there, and I loved it. Well, we would do promo stuff, and there's still a video of me on YouTube, I'm fairly certain, talking about being in the band. And they edited one part out because they asked, like, what was your first game like? And I was like, okay, so you go on the field, there's 30,000 people yelling, it's like a Disney moment. I was so overwhelmed and excited. I didn't play. Well, also because you run. State's band runs onto the field with part of their thing. But I didn't play, like, the first pregame at the first game I was at because I was just so like, wow, this is a lot. This is so cool. And in that interview, they edited it out so well. But they didn't like me saying that, I think, when they said
I'm sure they did. Yeah.
And they took that out, and I remember saying it, and then they cut it out, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
But
funny.
yeah, you would. And it was, I mean, it's an athletic band, too,
Sure.
so you'd be out of breath.
I'm sure,
sometimes. So, cool thing about saxophone players will laugh at this. You know, when you're in a band that big, State was like 330 people. State, I will always say, is one of the top bands in the ACC. Number one's probably always Florida State because they're just incredible. But State is up there at the top with their performance level and what they do. Absolutely. But, you know, saxophone, woodwind instruments get drowned out a lot of times
they
by
do,
everything
yeah,
else unless
sure.
it's piccolo. We played plastic reeds.
Oh.
And I know somebody's going to be sitting there and listening, but we had an assistant director who joked about it. He's like, you know, y'all can play plastic if you want to. And once I made that switch, I was like, hey, this is not bad. Nothing breaks. And, you know, you're sacrificing a lot of tone, but you get
Sure.
the volume, and that's what mattered.
And sure, and really, tone in a marching band is not that big a deal. I mean,
it means more for the trumpets and the ones that are going to carry. But for the woodwinds, you just want that volume there for what we were going for. But yeah, State's band is still top of the line. When I went to a game last year, they've changed the pregame from how they did it when I was there. But really good changes that have more crowd involvement as far as the band of the audience. Which is
changed.
Cool.
Did you play the same stuff for 4 years?
Yes.
So
I know a lot of John Philip Sousa marches because part of the pregame when I was there was like we play like a John Philip Sousa medley, and so yeah.
Okay, I wondered. Like, no, we're like a band. We got to change it up every year.
Yeah, no, we changed up the shows.
Right.
Yeah.
The marching
shows,
part,
yeah.
but the music stayed the same.
The music. We may have got like one new song for the stands every year.
That's
and
funny.
then the wild thing about collegiate band too, you know, high school band, you'll stay on something for a long time. Collegiate band, I remember they brought out a show one time, and it was a Beatles show. Well, me and one of the other guys in the section, like big Beatles fans, and the intro was the Hey Bulldog.
Yeah.
The boom, 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 boom. And we were so excited. Well, we ran through it like 7 or 8 times, and it was clear that the band wasn't picking up on it immediately. And they were like, all right, cut measures 1 through 8. Like they cut, and if it can't be picked up quickly, they're like, all right, we'll move it to the next one. We're going to adapt.
Oh.
So that was an interesting change from high school to collegiate level band.
Oh, you know, yeah. You've had a lot of life experiences on football fields.
There you go. Yeah, I've seen a lot of really mediocre, really good ACC football.
I'm sure you have. You know.
And still subject myself to it. So
True. I mean, I don't think your love for it lessened because you're not marching on the field.
Yeah.
Did you play guitar or anything while you were in college?
I didn't. I was very shy about that. I thought it had to be something. I mean, in high school, I would play a couple times with friends, and I still have friends that make fun of me when we had to do school projects. I'd be like, well, we can write a parody song.
Right.
And I'd bring a guitar, and we'd play our little parody song. One time we did a REM, It's the End of the World as We Know It, but it was about some kind of endangered squirrel. Oh. So it was It's the End of the Squirrels as We Know It, and changed the lyrics.
Of course.
So we did stuff like that.
I know your dad. I can see where you get that from, too. Yeah.
Well, and then when I got to college, I was very shy about it. I remember sitting, if anybody went to State, the open area between Sullivan and Lee Hall, I was sitting out there one night waiting on one of my friends, I think, to go eat supper, and I could hear off to the side some guys playing a bunch of Avett Brothers songs. I knew all them songs.
Right.
But did I go get my guitar and go out there and do them? No. I was scared. I didn't know I could do that. And so I think not until the end of college, I had a friend that, Abby, that would do jams, and she invited me to one of her jams. And that was a cool experience.
But you knew how to play guitar before you went there.
Knew how to play guitar before I went there, but just was very shy about it.
But you didn't know how to play banjo before you went, did you?
Did not know how to play banjo. I started playing banjo in 2019 with Buck Threlkill out of Fayetteville, if we're going to say it like the locals.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But love him and his wife Susan to death, and that was when I got into banjo. So.
Yeah, that's cool.
Thanks.
So your life now is your musical life now is totally different.
Yeah, and I was talking to somebody not long ago about this. I'm very happy. all band kids that care a lot about band, I think, flirt with being music majors.
Sure.
At some point. Very happy I didn't do that for a lot of reasons, but especially happy because I'd still be playing saxophone.
Well,
and now my interests are so different.
Totally. I mean, your musical influences would be totally different too.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I always want you to come and play horn when we have band things. You know?
Yeah. And I'm like, hey, I'm sorry.
I love horn sections. You know.
Oh, they're great, and I still love it.
Yeah,
I still love it.
But I want to be the guitar player now. Yeah.
Like I think I remember we went to see Lyle Lovett and the large band.
Oh yeah, large
a
band.
couple years ago, and I mean, like all the horns are amazing.
Sure. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Fun.
Oh yeah. I always wanted for a period of time to have a Tedeschi trucks type of with the horns. I've always wanted to be in bands but the downside to that is you have to pay places to play because they can't pay.
That's a lot more people on the paper.
How much money you get?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like
Well, I think too, like bands too, it's neat that you can do band at the high school level and you can do it through school. It's cool too. There's still a lot of big churches that do orchestras.
True.
So I have friends that I played with in college that still play because they have opportunities like that.
Sure.
So I think it's neat that there's still opportunities exist. Woodwind instruments don't have to die just because you're not in school.
But they kind of do, though. I mean, they do. I mean, there's not as many opportunities.
Yeah. Outside of like a church or community orchestra, there's not as many as there used to be.
I mean, if you dig around, you can probably go down and play like with the little theater or with the theaters around. Maybe they'll put on a production where you'll get to play a little bit. But it's pretty limited.
Well, and that was the excellent thing too. Saxophone, trumpet, things like that. You can always jump in with somebody.
True.
If you want to play the rock band.
True.
Like.
No, you can. I mean, yeah. I mean, you could even go out on your own as a tenor saxophone player, and you can almost busk with it.
Oh yeah, and I've seen people. I saw a guy do it in D.C. I remember he was playing the Sesame Street theme song. Yeah. I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
So, it's doable.
I mean, I've seen a lot of horn guys busking.
Yeah.
So not too many horn girls though, but I've seen horn guys busking.
Yeah.
If you go to Panthers football games, you'll see them sometimes down there.
There you go, out there in Charlotte.
Yeah. So but so tell me about your musical path now.
Musical path now is I started writing songs, I think, in 2019. And so it was about 5 years ago. And I think I joke with a lot of people. I think I've joked with you before, too, that I had to go through some things before I had anything to write about.
Well, I think that, I do think that's something that people have to do. I think you have to live a bit in order to write songs that are even halfway worthy.
Yeah.
And like, and I've used that, what you said before, and you're about the only other person that I've really talked to that felt that way, but you do. I mean, before I write other songs, I have to go and let life unfold a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, as you know, misery is pretty good for songwriting.
Oh yeah.
Pretty good. I mean, being happy is hard to write songs.
Yeah.
I've been accused maybe before of sabotaging my own life so I'd have something to write about.
Sandy does it all for the craft. Committed to the craft.
Committed to the craft. Well, I mean, I am in the fact that I love a song.
Yeah.
I love other songwriters' songs.
Yeah.
I like my craft of writing songs about writing about things in my life.
Yeah.
It's a bit therapy.
Yeah.
It's a bit life story.
Yeah.
But it is easier to write hardship songs than it is happy songs.
It is, and I would say that most of my songs are not autobiographical.
Yeah,
and even if they were, I wouldn't tell you.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And I think it's interesting because you're able to pull from your own emotions or own experiences to create a story or create a theme in a song. And there may be like a bit of you that really happened in one part, but for the most part, I enjoy that because I wouldn't say that most of mine are autobiographical because I think people listen sometimes and they're like, "Oh, is that real?" And I'm like, "No, it's not."
No.
Well, that part really happened, the one line, but
I think that is a big part of it. Being able, it's my story analogy.
Yeah.
Is a hamburger. 2 pieces of bread and a piece of meat.
Yeah.
Pretty tasty thing.
Yeah. I'm writing this down.
How you embellish it is what makes the difference between a good story and a great story. Just like a hamburger.
Yeah.
It depends on how much you add to it.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be true if it's rooted in the truth.
Yeah.
And that's songwriting to a T.
Yeah.
You know, I might have had this emotion, but I haven't lived it.
Yeah.
You know, I might have known somebody that's gone through this, but I'm going to write it from the you know, the first person perspective, even though it was not me. You know, or I've even thought about this.
Yeah.
But I haven't actually done it. Yeah. So I mean. It's complicated. It's complicated. Boy, songwriting is both easy and complicated.
As I say, and there's always the challenge of you want to say as much as you possibly can in as few words as you possibly can.
Oh yeah, that's another thing too.
Hit it hard and hit it tough, and
because you know that's the bane of experienced songwriters around. Say songwriters who during COVID got a guitar and wrote a couple of songs.
Yeah,
I don't need to know. I don't need 17 minutes and 20 lines of your story, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, no one's interested as a musician. Very few songs that are very long.
Yeah.
Actually, anyone ever listens to.
Yeah.
And you can go that from the standard of time. I mean,
yeah.
You know, there are ones. Edmund Fitzgerald goes on till the ship sinks, and
absolutely,
you know, I mean, there are songs that are long songs, but for the most part, if it's not a jam, so if the music's not surrounding if it's just the words itself, you got a small window to say what you need to say.
It's hard,
and get out and keep people interested.
Yeah, and that's always, and I think that's the key is keeping people engrossed. Making sure that every word has weight to it.
Yeah, it does.
That you're saying what you want to say, and that's a challenge. Just like
it is
a huge challenge to get that and do that. And I think that's my goal is to always write a song that I enjoy, but then also that somebody else may enjoy as well.
Sure.
Because I was thinking about trying to put it in a metaphor. I raise Labradors
right
inside, and I get people ask me all the time, "Are you sad when the puppies leave?" And I'm like, "No." Because I have fun raising the puppies, working with the mom up until that point and seeing the growth.
Right.
And then, but when the people are contacting me, when I'm sending them pictures, and then when they come pick them up, the joy that I already experienced, but now they have,
and then they get
sharing.
to. That's pretty good because I've never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
You know.
Hey, puppies make everything cuter, even an animal.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, puppies are, and as one of the real problems. This is not a music thing, but it is one of the real problems to where dogs wind up being abandoned or put out is because puppies are cute.
Yeah.
As they get older, they get to be
tired.
They're like kids. They're like babies. Babies are cute.
Yeah.
But then you can't just give your kids away or you know, put them out. Well, my mom and dad maybe a bit, but you know, it's like go out and play and don't come home till it's dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, but
and there's that. I try to have fun. And I try to have fun with what I write and try to make it in a way that other people will enjoy it as well. It's always the goal that I have going into it.
Talk about the Don Gibson.
Yeah.
Songwriter.
So I've been writing since like 2019, and I had played with mostly friends. So last year, the Don Gibson the Don Gibson Singer-Songwriter Symposium, song contest that they do every year in Shelby here with us. I knew it was happening, and I more or less did it. I did not care what the result was. I did it just to prove to myself that I could. Because I'd been doing it long enough, and I was like, really ought to do something with this. These songs ain't doing no good that I've written just sitting here.
Right.
And wanted to do more, wanted to challenge myself. So.
And I think you have to know, you have to get something to say, oh, maybe I should do this or maybe I shouldn't do this, you know?
Well, and there's and we could get into that too with bluegrass. I mean, with jams, you got to get out of the comfort zone if I'm going to walk into this room and not know anybody.
Right, yeah.
So with the music, I think there's any comfort zones like anything else. But that was my whole goal, was just to prove to myself that I could do it. And I entered one of my songs called Divorce Looks Good on You that I'll play later. I entered that song and it ended up, I got second place. And I joke with people that the second place prize, the first place prize was $1,000. Second place prize was less than $600. So I didn't have to tell the IRS about that one.
Right, exactly. Oh yeah, I mean,
I'm
hey,
playing. I will.
That's
but,
the
the
beauty
real
of
winner
it.
is if you're lower than $600.
Sure,
that's
it
the
is.
winner prize money, right?
I agree.
But yeah, so that was a wonderful experience because that was fun. Getting to meet all the other songwriters in the area who had entered and getting to talk to people and hang out all day. And it was really, really cool.
Plus, you got to do a Don Gibson song in the Don Gibson Theater.
For Miss Bobby Gibson.
That is
Don's wife, yeah.
That I've done it too. And that's the only reason I did it was to do a Don Gibson song in the Don Gibson Theater.
Yeah, and that was, I remember they opened it, they said they had opened up the song list to even wider. And so it was also really cool because it was like forced homework in a way.
Yeah, it is.
Where I had listened to Don, but not as deep as
Right.
that list went. And I made a Spotify playlist and was listening to it while I was at work, working. And I was like, I got to pick one of these songs.
Yeah.
And but that's, as a native, as a Cleveland County native, that was some good homework.
Oh, it is.
To
I
have
agree
to
totally.
Get deeper into
and you dig deeper and you get worried that three of us going to do the same song,
Yeah, because everybody wants to do See a Heartbreak.
Sure,
You know, we all
or
love
everybody
See a
wants
Heartbreak,
to do, or Oh Lonesome Me.
Oh Lonesome Me.
I mean, he's got several that everybody wants to do.
Yeah.
So you have to.
And that was fun. And the whole crew at the Don Gibson, like Million Sand and Scott, everybody's so nice.
They are.
So that was a really fun experience to get to do that and meet all the cool
It's
people.
also turned into other jobs down there for you too, has it not?
Yeah, I've got to play Don Gibson. If y'all haven't been to a show at Don Gibson, they'll have your performer in the theater and they'll have somebody playing in the lobby bar area before the doors open. So I've got to play before like Pam Tillis last year. Took my grandma to that one.
Yeah.
She had a great time.
Right.
So that was worth it for that, but I had
Sure.
a wonderful time as well.
Oh, yeah.
And, but I've played down there a couple times since before the main act, and that has been a super cool experience. So, yeah, really grateful to them. And grateful to y'all. It's also one of those things that it was a success and a fun day for a personal journey. But seeing my dad texted me, you texted me, your wife Donna, my mom, my cousin, people that came and were just sharing in the joy with me. And I remember I called, have a really good friend that plays mandolin, lives in Seattle now. And I remember I called her outside and I was like, I made it to the final round. And she's like, what? And I was like, yeah, I guess we're going to keep doing it. I guess we're going to do it another time, So it's to share in that joy with others was a really profound experience. It was really special.
Well, I mean, yeah, sure it is. And I think based on that alone, it has really propelled you to want to continue this.
Yeah.
More so than before. I mean, before it was something you were noodling around with.
Yeah. Yeah. And getting out there and somebody going, hey, I like that, makes you
Oh, it does.
encourage
It
you
does.
in a
It does.
way to be like, okay, well, maybe I should keep doing this.
Well,
So,
now, how is it playing music with your dad?
I mean, it's, you know how family is.
And I know how your dad is.
Oh no, that's fun. That's fun. And I play with him and Danny Parker a good bit, and then with you guys with the Handsome Johns, Sandy, Dale Britton, Randy Saxon, Emma Buckner, Chris Rogers, everybody. Got to get everybody's name in there. That is so. Everybody gives me so much grace, and that has been so great because I had played by myself in a room or at bluegrass jams, so a lot of the nuances of the electronics, of getting things right in the mix, of doing things like that and getting used to that. Everybody has given me so much grace and helpful tips to learn because y'all been doing this for years.
Yeah, bet.
So it's fun to hang out and I think they don't get mad at me. Y'all don't get mad at me as much.
No, we don't. Yeah. I mean, hey, if I see you coming, I'm handing you my guitar. I'm going to hand you a guitar and get off stage.
So yeah, it's been really fun to do that and to learn and also to be a part. Growing up, I saw everybody play. It's the same people I've seen.
Right.
And that's what we talk about. We talk about, okay, it's in your family, but any kid that grows up in Cleveland County, we are so rich in musical heritage.
We are.
We are so rich in music. Earl Scruggs Center does a great job with the Hen House Prowlers.
Sure.
Making sure. And I remember when I was a kid at Burns Middle, Laura Businger came and did
Laura.
a thing.
Laura's great.
So we have such a rich musical heritage to pull from, and it's never... When I've lived in other places, it's been kind of an oddity sometimes when somebody played music. They're like, oh, they play music. Here, everybody
plays.
And it's cool. It's more welcoming. And so I think anybody growing up here, whether or not you were directly in it, your family was directly in it, it's so easy for you to step out and try it because we have such a good community.
We do. And they're pretty helpful among each other.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really here. Everybody pretty much the musicians encourage each other. It's not really a cutthroat music scene.
No, this is and if you hadn't caught on, this is me and Sandy's spiel about why you should move to Shelby, North Carolina, or to Cleveland County, and come play music with us.
Actually, I've been a part of this community for a while, and something that I'm just going to go ahead and announce it on this show. North Carolina has 3 cities that have been designated music cities.
Yeah.
And the only other place that has been a part of this is Texas. So Shelby has been designated a music city.
There you go.
And they're going to have a ceremony and all. I'm not sure when it's been supposed to happen, but it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it is a music city.
It's a cool place.
A lot of fine musicians here.
Yeah, and I mean, we also...
A lot of genres.
A lot of genres that you have around here, a lot of good local talent. The bands, the orchestra programs, and the schools are really good. And we also have ready access to all the flavors of Sundrop and liver mush and barbecue. So
well,
it's a good place to be.
It is. I agree. I mean that is...
That's our spiel for
Breakfast of Champions.
County. Yeah.
So, you and I have even done a duet on stage.
Yeah. The first story Sandy talked about when I went to his house, that was with the Hanson Johnnies when y'all were starting up the Hanson Johnnies, the John Prine cover band. Sandy asked me, he was like, "Hey, do you want to do In Spite of Ourselves?" And I said, "Yeah, but can I come and we can work it out? We'll figure out the harmonies." Because I have a low voice, and so a lot of the female harmonies I have to change up. And but that's when I went over there. We did that, and that's been fun.
Yeah.
Getting to be a part of the Hanson Johnnies has been really
fun. It's a fun. I mean, I'm tickled to be a part of it too. It's a fun thing, and I think that is the whole premise behind the Johnnies.
Yeah.
Is this fun?
Yeah.
Because it's we do John Prine. I guess you would call this a John Prine tribute. Show, not so much as an act.
I reckon. Well, neither one of y'all's come out in that hair or the cigarette.
No, we hadn't, but that could happen. That could happen.
Yeah.
So it's and that's been a fun thing. People seem to enjoy it.
Yeah.
We seem to draw a pretty good crowd when we do that, which says more about John Prine's popularity than
absolutely
and than us.
I had thought about an instance. The first time, I think everybody remembers, like the first time they saw a movie that was Oscar worthy or a song that made them. The first time you have an experience with a piece of art that makes you think differently about that art as a whole. When I was in middle school, my parents had tickets to see John Prine, and they took me and my brother. And I was in middle school, so I think I'd not really listened. You just listen to whatever.
Sure.
And listened to a lot of classic rock then. But the opener was Sarah and Sean Watkins.
Yeah.
Her self-titled album had come out. And I'd heard a lot of that. My dad was working at WGWG, the Gardner-Webb station at the time. And then they also played a Morrissey song, and I was in middle school, so I was all about Morrissey.
Oh, yeah, Morrissey.
Well, so I had fun that, and then John Prine comes out, and he's playing, and I remember he played Sam Stone.
Yeah.
And I remember really tuning into that for whatever reason. And
it's a sad song.
It's a sad, when I think
tragic song.
The line about Jesus, I was like, can he say that?
No,
Is he okay to say that? And but I got home and I looked it up and learned it. But I think that was the first time I heard a song, and I'm like, oh, this is different.
Yeah,
these can be more than just songs.
Sure, they can be.
They can have weight and
yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool. You got jobs lined up?
Yeah, I got a goal we're talking about for this year. So I started playing out last year after the Songwriter contest. And so my goal this year is, try to have a gig a month. And hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have something out for people to listen to. Some singles, maybe an EP. But that's my goal. I've had this stuff stored up, so, I got to put it on paper and kind of get it out there.
Yeah. You just put yourself on the spot, too,
Oh, yeah.
Now you're going to have to do
this.
this.
I'm going to hold myself accountable.
Exactly.
There we go.
Yeah.
We'll manifest it. We'll speak it into existence, I guess.
Right. Seems that way, I mean, I don't know if. So when do you play next?
I play next. I'll be at Dragonfly Wine Market in Shelby at the end of the month on Leap Day, February 29th. We're on Leap Year. So I'll be there next. And this is a plug for Dragonfly, too, as our local venue does a wonderful job. We have people that come from all over and play Dragonfly, and they're like, that's a really listening room.
It's a listening room.
Jamie does a great job, and everybody, Bill, everybody does a wonderful job.
Well, and this is something that we now have a Cleveland County Music Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And currently of people in Shelby, I can think of no one who has done more for live music in this town than Jamie Coulter.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's not. He has acts, not just this town.
Yeah.
And they're diverse. Yeah, they're different, and he has a listening room part for it. I mean, you can come in there and dance. We've had people come and dance, but by the same token, most of the people in the front room listen.
Yeah. And if you come to one of Sandy's songwriter nights, the Big Sound Small Town songwriter nights, I mean, you hear a pin drop.
Oh, yeah.
Playing. People are very focused.
They are.
And so, yeah, we just, live in a great area for music, and it's just around us.
It is. It is. It's all, fueled by liver mush and sun drop.
Liver mush and sun drop, that's right.
So, Madison, I appreciate you coming to do this show. Is there anything else we need to know that we're missing?
I don't know. I know you ask people all the time, like, do you pull out the dictionary and do like the writing exercises?
Yeah, do
stuff
you?
Like that? I don't.
Do you have a rhyming a rhyming app on your phone?
I do absolutely use a rhyming dictionary.
Good.
And, I write a lot of songs when I'm driving.
Driving is a good place.
Yeah, and I just kind of do it as I feel like it. And I will kind of get on myself to fix lyrics. But as far as coming up with melodies or anything like that, just kind of do it as I feel like it.
Yeah.
And just try to have fun with it.
Well, another one of my beliefs is even to the point of recording a song, that doesn't necessarily mean it's in stone.
No.
I mean, I've changed stuff that I've written and recorded, and I've changed it. And it's not because, now, a lot of times I change my words because I forget them at my age.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have, written songs, recorded them, and go, oh, that line wasn't really that good, and find a way that I could not find to fix it at the time, Why it would be something simple. It's like, hey, why couldn't I figure that out 10 years ago,
And then I have one, I remember that there was always one line that kept leaving me, and I couldn't figure out what worked best for that line. I thought of it one day, and dang if I didn't write it down.
Yeah.
So I lost it, and I was like, well, I'm still looking for that line. I'll find it eventually.
Well, the great thing for me as a songwriter these days is my phone. I can wake up in the middle of the night with an idea and either put it in my notes or put it in my recorder, and I got it. Where used to I'd get up and it'd be paper, and sometimes I'd get up the next day and I couldn't even read what I wrote, and I used to have songs on. John Prine and I, we had the same job for a while, and I think we both did the same thing. Scott Miller told me one time that Scott said that John Prine and I did the same thing. He said, y'all were out delivering mail and y'all wrote songs on any piece of paper that you could get. I wrote them on people's envelopes and stuff, It's like, so modern technology has helped that. But you can go to my house and shake stuff. 3 or 4 songs will fall out, and there'll be things I don't even remember writing, that they're on a piece of paper somewhere, where at least now I can go on my notes on my phone and say, oh, yeah, I did start that, didn't I?
It's a way to keep track. And I will say one thing that I have a challenge with is, like, from playing banjo, I love playing banjo on things that aren't bluegrass because I think it can be applied to that.
It can.
And but I do have, like, I think I pushed myself too hard about I can put a banjo on that. And you really don't need it. You don't need to put that on there. Don't worry about it. So figuring out instrumentation on songs as you go along is a fun thing to do.
Yeah, well, and, you take a banjo, for instance. I was working on a banjo song when you got here.
But and Sandy didn't record it on a voice memo, guys. I was giving him, I'm like, you're not going to record this? No, I'll remember it.
We'll see. But, banjo now is a very broad palette.
Yeah.
Whereas it hasn't always been that way.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, of course, there's a whole nother school of old time and clawhammer. There is, and still to this day, there are Dixieland jazz players that played banjo in a total different, it's a strumming plectrum type of banjo. Then you got the the guys like Bela Fleck. I mean, it's just hard to. Brian McMurray of Acoustic Syndicate, who play a whole different version than Earl Scruggs, and then you got some fine, straight up Scruggs bluegrass pickers that are just, it's the heart of banjo.
Yep.
It's the heart of bluegrass, really.
The spectrum's huge.
Yeah,
huge spectrum.
Yeah, so banjo, it's and I know it is an instrument that actually came to America through slavery, I think.
Yeah.
So it's a and there are actually now black bluegrass banjo players.
Yep.
Fine ones.
Yeah.
Trey Wellington.
Absolutely.
There's others too. I mean, he's not the only one.
Yeah.
Jake Blunt. Yeah. So I mean, I am glad to see that go kind of full circle though.
Oh yeah, the banjo being accepted more in wider everything,
sure.
and calling back to more of the historical context that
Yeah.
people were talking about more. Just
Yeah.
really cool to see the evolution of that instrument.
Yeah.
So many ways.
It is.
Like, very American instrument is what it's
Very,
doing.
very is.
It's going on.
And bluegrass is a very American music.
Yeah.
I mean, it is American music,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
It's weird that you think about American music, but it's basically the blues, bluegrass, or even jazz is American
Absolutely.
music. That's because the jazz players just never learn what to play, so they just play anything they want to. And play it, and I can't understand it, so
Yeah.
we're good to go. So, again, Madison, thanks for coming.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Joy to be here.
All right.
This song is called Easter Sunday. Wrote it a couple years ago, and was just trying to have fun. It's just a breakup song about happening on Easter, I think is all it is, but just try to have fun. It's Easter Sunday and I'm broke. I slept through 5 alarms this morning alone. I can't go to church, I can't get out of bed. The life I wanted now is in my head. A pastel's passing on the street. Happy people, they don't care nothing about me. I look away because it's all I can do. It's Easter Sunday and I'm missing you. We were gonna get old together, we were gonna make it. We were gonna survive it all, man. I thought that we could take it, but that ain't happening now. And no matter how I try, I'm only sitting here and wondering why you had to pass me by. It's Easter Sunday and I'm gone. I can't get you out of my head, I can't go it alone. I guess I should call it off and just say that you won. But I know these things are not so easily done. Get old together, we were gonna make it. We were gonna survive it all, man. I thought that we could take it, but that ain't happening now. And no matter how I try, I'm only sitting here and wondering why you had to pass me by. It's Easter Monday and I'm done. I think I'll sleep it off and then I'll wake up at 1. Call you up and profess my love for you, 'cause I just can't believe that we're through.